Hey guys, welcome back to another voiceover. My name is Sakumi-chan, and for this terms of voiceover, I'm gonna be working on Yamato from One Piece. She's a relatively newer character, and I think her design is pretty cool. She's got that Japanese vibe, so I'm um, doing a little bit of Mai Shiranui. Uh, Kind of like a crossover, take a bit of that element and using it for Yamato because, she's also got that, her outfit, I think I can push it towards a more pin-up look similar to mine's, and I think it's gonna, hopefully, I mean, if it looks as good as it does in my mind, hopefully it will turn out the way I had hoped it would, basically. So yeah, as usual, I already got the blocking done. So um, the lighting is gonna be coming from above. That's what I originally planned. Hopefully it's going to stay that way. So the lighting will be coming from above and towards the left side. All right. So from this side, I'm just going to quickly block in the color. This is part of her blouse that's tucked into her red pants. And I did, make the pants a uber low cut because I wanted to see if I can achieve, a, basically paint the pants the way I imagined it, which is, it's gonna be kind of loose up top so that I can have her silhouette, her stomach silhouette be very emphasized. And so we get that nice contrast between her bust and her thin waist. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to uh, do it properly, but yeah. That's how I envisioned it. I wanted to have a contrast between her bust and her waist. Since One Piece is pretty much known for that uber uh, female anatomy, the super exaggerated anatomy, so I wanted to see if I can also do something similar. Although Yamato, she's more or less covered up. Uh, Her waist is more or less covered up, so this is just, I want to see if I can do something here. So lighting coming from above and down below. Oh, her pants is up, has a lot of pleats, so this will be a little challenging. So I will have to use some reference. Some good reference here for her pant is actually figures for her. That's the closest I'm gonna get to like how they would look in real life. So I'm gonna be referencing some of that figure, Yamato figures. So in general, this is kind of how it started off like that. I will, let's go ahead and paint a bit of the skin back here. Bring a bit of warm tone, maybe not towards the yellow, but more towards the red. A bit more warmth in the shadow here. Uh, Also, gotta shade this part properly because I want, well, actually, I want her leg to be in a certain, well, to rotate in a certain way, so uh, the shading here is gonna be important here. So I can show like shade her hips out a bit more, turning towards the viewer, and then her leg will be a bit more tucked in while her hips are jutting out. So that's kind of the concept I wanted to do. Although I think that the shading needs to be fixed. For now, I believe that it gets the point across. Now onto the top layer. Let's go ahead and shade the skin out. And we're going to determine where the lighting is. Let's go ahead and take this. Hmm. And then her, what's it called? Her ribs catch a bit of the lighting as well. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly shade the top. The top is a gray bluish color with a purple tint. So I think I will do that. Oh, let's go ahead and add a bit of highlight here. And let's use this color for the highlight. Let's see, she's got, so it's this color, and then there's a red undershirt. Something like that. I'll just basically put down that red shade just for reference, or just to have it there already. So red undershirt, and then her top, her blouse top, and then her OB. Although in the original she is not wearing an OB, but we're doing like that my Shiranui look, so. But if she would have an OB, it would probably be either red or purple, I think, based on her color. Based on the color palette, I think I will go with this color, because her pants will be, or her pants drape will be showing a little bit. And then we have the quite big knot. I think I will have the big knot in a separate layer, so I can play around with the size of the knot later. Let's give it a bit of a purple hue here. Probably needs to be a bit more. Oh no. Alright guys, some bad news. So basically Photoshop crashed. It happens from time to time. And this is the backup that was saved. So as you can see, all this part need to redo. So I guess we will be going through that again. Yeah, this happened quite a bit. Enough for me to start being a bit more careful. But yeah, we'll go through this process again. You guys already probably know how it is. I don't have to narrate as much, but yeah, it's gonna be a similar process. I might change up a few things. Sometimes, if my file crashes and I have to redo it, I try to I try to do it a little differently, experiment, or even try to do a better job at it so I feel better about losing the progress I made before. You know, but yeah, it's like a lesson learned. I have to be more careful with my files. I have to I have to hit Control S every now and then, or as often as I can, just making sure to save it and all that. Because otherwise that will happen and it's not going to be a good time for us. I don't think anybody likes sudden crashes of Photoshop. Uh, but yeah. Um, oh yes, the red color. Let's go ahead and mark the rough color scheme for the shirt, and the OB will be this color, followed by, let's do a red, let's have a red lining for the OB as well. And her top will have some additional design, but we're going to work on the base for that first. I'm going to select a bit of a yellow tone. So this is a little different. I'm gonna do this for my second pass. And then onto the chest. Bring it down a bit. And I'm gonna go in here. Actually, probably not that color. Let's go for more of a purplish red color. Let's add a bit of shadow there. Oh, what? Okay, whoops. Control S real quick to save. That's the lighting we have. Let's go ahead and do the same here. Brighten that up, and then let's do the knot now. And use this color as a base. Oh wait, hold on. Actually, I shouldn't be using that color because the knot is a bit more obvious in terms of how purple it is. So I'm just going to do a rough gradient of where I want the lighting to be. Let's do this. And we'll just shade it as if the whole knot itself is all purple. And then we'll do and then we will do the color change now. So, well, we can have, so roughly it's gonna look like this. And after that, we will go in once again to add on the lighting here and go back here. I need to have a bit of lighting. Go back to the body layer. Just give it a bit more lighting here, and then play up the shading here. I want it to also be more on the purplish side. Purplish side. I think there's more room for experimenting on the color. Probably not gonna stick with this. Usually I just lay down what I think is good for now, and then I end up switching it around later on. Let's get some highlight in the shadow towards the bottom here. Add a bit of highlight here. Add a bit of shadow. Let's see what Photoshop thinks. Auto contrast. Okay. Photoshop think that's the optimal amount of contrast. Could probably use a bit more gray color. And as for here, let's rotate real quick. I think I wanna, yeah, the lid shading here is a bit too smooth. It looks way too smooth. It needs to be readjusted. So my Cintiq actually, the drive updated, so now the pressure is a little bit different from what I'm used to. So yeah, it's taking me a while to adjust, but I am currently trying to, I think I'll give her a bit of a muscle definition here. But still need to figure out the color scheme. I am not liking this right now. I'm not digging it. Let's add a bit of gray, or let's add this color. Oh, well, no. Okay, I'll play around with it. But let's move on here. So this arm is a bit more closer to the lighting, so I wonder if I can, let's use a bit more orange here. Make this arm be just a bit more bright and colorful in terms of tone. Let's do that. And she's going to have some arm brace here. Just quickly did a blocking for that. That is strange. Oh, wait, it's supposed to be up here. Okay. Alright, now back to the knot. So, similar process for the knot on her waist. We are just going to shade out the knot as one 2B object. I think maybe I will switch up the lighting here a bit. Let's go ahead and take the highlight here. I would imagine there would be just a bit of intense highlight near these areas. Oh yeah, I was supposed to paint it manually slightly. I'm trying to make the knot up here just a bit bigger. Alright, so I think we will go with that, and now time to change color of sections of the knots. Yeah, I think I might, this is gonna have to be worked on a lot more after. Okay, let's go to the top layer, which is her chest layer. So, just gonna quickly block in some of the shading here. Maybe only this part will have a bit of lighting on her arm. Oh, actually, maybe this part will have a bit of lighting. We'll have some, what's it called, highlight inside the shadow part. Let's go under here. Probably need to reshape this part here so that the cleavage feels a bit more fitted into her top and stuff. Her weapon, I will just fill it in with this color. She's got a iron, or yes, iron, dark iron weaponry here. I will quickly shade it to add some yellow highlight. Not enough contrast here, I see. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Create a bit more contrast. Add a rough estimate of where the lighting will be. Oh, okay. I will at the, oh no, where's the dots? Okay, there's one here. There's a bunch of protrusions on the her weapon here. I think I made it a bit too dark. Had one here, let's put one here, and one here. So this is roughly where I'm gonna place them. Let's do a little auto contrast. I could have a bit of lighting around here on the side there, just to give the weapon just a bit more volume. And as for hair, she's got very pale hair with turquoise tips. Turquoise being one of my favorite color, which is enjoyable for me painting turquoise. Add a bit of this as a buffer. I think what I'll do is first I will paint her hair as fully silver/white, and then I will add the turquoise tips and create the best possible gradient that I can. Ooh, yeah, this is not it. But yeah, this hair will just take a bit more to work on. Let's use, oh wait, not that color, but just more on the yellow side. Now onto the head layer. I think what I'll do for the head is it's gonna be uh, in the shade for the most part. Something like that. And perhaps we'll have a bit of forehead lighting, I don't know yet. A bit of lighting from the side here. Hair. Similar. Highlighted from above. Hair. Same thing. And then the horns. It's a bit more redder towards the top. And it has a nice orange to red gradient. Orange being towards the bottom half of the horn. There. Alright, so roughly we got our base. This one's a little complicated compared to the other one since it's more of a full composition piece. So I'm gonna already see a few parts that I'm gonna have to address later on. Probably to move parts of her around a bit more to create a better composition here. But usually after you blocking your sketch, sometimes you end up, it doesn't always look as good as you imagined it. That's kind of how I feel about this. So yeah. Alright, anyways, let's Shall we go ahead and get started? Let's start off with her top. Okay, so I'm gonna slowly, I think I can remove the lines now. Go ahead and create my secondary preview on my secondary screen. Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to think. Trying to think how I can make her twist, her torso twist accentuated a bit more so that it's more dynamic. Also, I want it to be a bit more obvious. Right now, it's not as obvious as I I would like it to be. So yeah. This is where the line is. Get a bit of continue that over here a bit more too. And so this part will be all the way down here. I want to add a bit of yellow highlight. And looking back at the reference here, I want to add a bit of purple. Add a bit of purple and also add a bit of the fabric pull from the top. Blend this out. Blend this out. Okay, let's merge down. Take this whole bit, move it. This probably, let's see if I can push it a bit more. Push it up a bit more. Let's see if I can do that. Take the color here. Let's see if I can subtly imply a bit of the fold here. This is where what's it called? I don't know what this is called, but her rib cage is kind of pushed up here, so I want to make sure that's pretty obvious. make that a bit more obvious. Let's do that. Block that in. Oh wait, hold on. Nope, that wouldn't look good. Maybe like this. I'm gonna rotate it. Alrighty. Yeah, it's starting to get there. I think I can keep working on here. I would need to extend the OB up. Definitely need to extend the OB up a bit more, like around this area. And also the knot as well. I would need to push the knot up. Oh, hold on. Okay, hold on. That's a bit too extreme. Let's tone it down a bit. Let's bring the red up. Fix the shape here. Delete. Going back to the knot. Oh, whoops. Merge down. Copy this part. Bring it down a bit. See if this is doable. I'm trying to see if I can make this part just a bit more bustier. Take this color. I'm just gonna do a contour. Actually, let me see if I can paint the other side over here so that I can use this paint over to contour the side here and see how that looks. I don't think it's working out as well as I thought it would. Actually, you know what? It needs to be like this. Delete, delete. needs to be a bit more on the yellow side. I'm gonna, I guess, yeah, yellow side. Let's use this tone, it looks a little better. Mm. And have a, then I'm gonna add a even a bigger contrast. Oh, hold on. To this area, that's where the main highlight will be, but it might be a bit too much. That means I have to go back in here, offset it a bit. Offset it with a bit of gray. And then re-add in warm tone. Yeah, this part is flat. I need to shade it in a way that it is a bit more better, because right now it's looking quite flat and I am not feeling it. Could probably be a little better. I think it will require a few passes. Okay, let's merge down for now. I'm gonna cut that side, bring it up, or I can, yeah, just experiment a little bit on the shape. See if I can get a better result. Okay. Merge down. I can probably not. Could probably rotate this. I think if I rotate this, it'll make a bit more sense. I think, yeah, I think that's it. Oh, wait, what happened? Did I do something? Wait, did I cancel the rotation? Oh gosh, yeah, I did. Oh my goodness, okay. I don't know what I did. I pressed a bunch of keys. I thought I was doing undo, but it did a bit more than undo. Let's redo that rotation. If I do like this, I think it will look better. Not. I'm going to size all this up. Size it up. I think I can get away with her head being just a bit smaller. You know, since that's kind of the look anyways. I can play it off as the One Piece style a bit. I'll try my best not to make the head too small. Have to be careful there. Depending on the character, I can, you know, be a little bit more liberal with the head size. I tend to make the heads a bit smaller, so I keep an eye on myself when it comes to the head size nowadays. I mean, since like this year and last year, but before that I was like, I didn't really realize it until people mentioned that. I was like, okay, I gotta keep an eye on the head size. Okay. The top is roughly worked on. Now for the knot. The knot needs some work for sure. Oh, it's a curious thing. Nope. Kind of looks like a worm right now. I'm trying to get the perfect size. Let's do this. Actually, I'm gonna remove it for now and work on the OB part. Okay. Let me go ahead and clean this up a bit more. Now onto this side. Let's add a bit of wrinkles. Let's see. I'll probably give both that area a bit of shadow. And then some highlights. Gonna go in with manual red color. Highlight some of these areas. Add a shadow underneath. Basically, I want to clean this area up a bit. And in here, I would like to add a bit of warm tone to balance out the cool tone with the warm tone. Copy, darken, change color bit. I'm gonna erase some of this changes and also even add or change the color entirely. I want this part to be more yellow. It's getting there. And let's go ahead and add a bit of blue here. I want there to be a strong fold here where there's a big amount of bending going on. Now onto this side. Let's take this color. I'm just gonna be borrowing some colors. Go for a slightly brighter tone. Okay, what about here? Let's take this color here, a highlight. Just going to carefully paint in some pulling fabric highlight on there, plus the red, the other red fabric. Let's go ahead and clean that up. Oh, whoops. Copy that part. Just gonna bring down this portion right here. Just trying to see if I can push the size of her chest to acceptable size, and also trying to make the general shape a little better. Trying to make it a little rounder and stuff. Merge down. Let's go ahead and pop back on the knot. Let's push this up a bit. Okay. I'm adjusting the knot at the same time as refining the her obi. Okay. Just going to refine this part now. I think that should do it for the most part. Let's do a little auto contrast. That's what Photoshop think is the optimal amount of contrast. It's pretty similar to how it was, so I'm just gonna leave it. Now onto the armpit area. Take a bit of this color. I'm gonna create a new layer here for the armpit. The more I look at real life real life references of armpits, the more it's a lot different than what you would expect. You know, it's got a lot of shapes. It's kind of like the human ear. You know, there's like a generic form of how to draw slash paint ears, but there's so many different shapes to ears. It's the same thing for armpits. It's pretty interesting. Let me see here. I want to use a slightly warmer color tone for the armpit. Merge down, constrain it down to that layer so that your color don't go out of the control or from this layer right here. Let's paint a little bit of the elbow all the way down to the arm. Let's, actually, undo that. Okay, maybe I highlight this part of the arm. Trying out the different lighting for this portion. Guess not a big fan, but I can keep a portion of it. Actually, hold on. Do a little before and after. I think I'll come back to that. We can only try it out and see if it works. Yeah, it's getting there. Pop back on the knot so that I can continue it a bit. I'm just kind of testing it out. Yeah, testing out the shape. Like, I can move it around, see if it will look better. That type of a deal. I think I need to finish the head base in order to play around with that. This is gonna be a long road ahead. Yeah, I'll finish well, not finish the head, but I'll work on the head a little and play around with the placement for the head. And hopefully it's gonna come together. But since this is a bit of a foreshortening or perspective composition, usually that tends to require a bit of playing around with it. Playing around with placement for the character. So yeah, I will see you guys in a bit after I work on it a bit more. Welcome back, guys! Alright, so did a bit of playing around, got the face rendered out a bit, still pretty rough, but it's rendered out to a level where I can play around with the composition of the character. I also refined the bottom area a bit more to show a bit of like how I wanted the leg to be positioned, and yet I think it still needs a bit more work, but it's getting there. So here we are. Um, let's continue. Let's continue to do a bit of work here. I also worked on the top a bit, as you can see. So yeah. Oh, and I also played around with the background. I moved the shrine, the red shrine part down a bit more. Since I was going for uh, uh, um, what's it called? Bottom to up view. I had to move the shrine down a bit more to show that, to make her look a little bigger. And yeah, I think it frames her a bit better if I move the shrine down. So yeah, I was also playing around with the background composition. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the knot here. Maybe I'll move it down a bit more. So for her obi, I was thinking I could incorporate a bit of her top design, because okay, I probably need to render this out first. Yes, her top has some squiggly design here. Oh, something like that. I don't think I did it properly. No, I did not. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this looks like a worm. It's not supposed to look like this. Okay. I'm gonna redo it. I'm gonna add an extra part there. And let's go ahead and flip this onto the other side as well. Oh gosh, I don't think... Eh, I, hopefully it works out. Oh, I don't know. Okay, let's pop back on the... okay, with the knot on top, it practically blocks everything, so I suppose it makes little difference, even if it doesn't look very, doesn't look very much like the design itself. Maybe just having some sort of detail there would help. Could be worse. Let's go for it. I think I will. Let's go ahead and include it. We won't really see the OB anyways. Alright. So the knot is back on. I'm gonna try to see if I can make it a little thicker. I don't know if I can, but we shall try. So the knot itself has lots of little textures. So we can start off by using smaller brush and render it out with those little textures in mind. And also I will have to correct some of these areas, adjust the thickness for some of the knot sections. Okay. Well, yeah, I need to work on that a bit. Let's go ahead and correct this section right here. Add a bit of yellow tone underneath. Oh, actually this part needs to be a little thicker. I'm gonna just move this over a bit so that we may extend the purple section here. Oh, this part is might be a bit boring. It's oh, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I guess the tedious part comes after you've laid out the base. Then from that point on, all I do is correct, render out, put details, stuff like that. And you know, that phase typically takes the longest time. Sometimes sometimes I struggle to stay motivated, I'll be honest. It's been a few years. It's been a few years. I would say, I mean, I think after I turned 30, I suppose after everybody turned 30, they start getting a little tired. I think I'm at that phase right now. But I still want to experience joy, or the ultimate, I don't know how to describe it, but I want to experience the ultimate joy of painting. Um, Sometimes it takes a bit of time to get into the piece you're working on. I'm sure some of you are similar to how I feel about it. It does take some time to get into it, but once you get into it, you know, it starts being a lot more fun. But there's a certain level of stress you experience before that happens. Because for me personally, I'm just uh, trying to figure out the right composition, right color. I really want to do a good job, so there's a certain level of pressure there. But if I'm able to reach a level where I am happy with, it will become quite fun for me. So I'm always trying to trying to chase that. So, I mean, you can compare it to a bit of an addiction, really. I just want to feel the joy of, feel a bit of joy from drawing something that I'm really into, as in that where I'm on the right path. Like, for example, this character. I think I'm gonna reach that level of joy at some point, but right now it's still in the phase of, oh, I gotta get the composition right. I gotta get that composition right so that it'll click for me at some point, and then I can really go ham on it. But I don't think it's there yet. So yeah, I think as the more I draw it, the more I realize that's how I'm feeling right now. When I was, I guess, under 30, I was a bit more, I don't know, I was more like a machine. But once I hit 30, it kind of, I don't know, just a little, I mean, it's just a different mindset, I suppose. Yeah, it is not, nope. Okay. Alright, so now I am thinking about the knots and comparing to the reference, and I'm just kind of doing a bit of a self-critique here, and I believe I am not on the right track. I'm going to be warping some of the knots to a bit more tilted, a bit more like that, because the knots itself is not completely straight, so oh, I could have done this from the start. Another way of doing the knots would probably just be copy pasting one section and copy pasting it to different parts. Okay, I want to try something out. What if I do it like that? I feel like this knot area is gonna take me quite a bit. This is something I'm not very good at, is, I don't know, areas like this. And some of the objects in character outfits, I typically just use photos for those areas because I'm trying to save on time, trying to get the idea across. So the fastest way of getting to that level is just to use photo reference. And actually not photo reference. Yes, reference as well as photos. Because sometimes, just using a photo uh, is not enough. You have to use a photo, and while you paint over it, you need a reference so that you can paint over it with the reference, the lighting and stuff like that to get the best result, I think. So I've been doing that lately. I've been really trying to level up. It's I don't know. I'm usually never satisfied with my art. So it's always a goal of mine, basically. Okay, let's add a bit of highlight underneath. Highlight up top here. making it a little shiny. Let's lower that bit. Oh, let me see how it would look if I made this a little thicker. I'm just going to basically size it up a bit. Yeah, sometimes, you get stuck on small elements. I mean, one part of the character that is not really considered that important, but it's a little bit of I need to get everything right. It's yeah, mm, okay, I'm gonna rotate and hopefully that'll make it, make me see something that I couldn't see on the other side. Okay. Hmm. Okay. I think what I'll do next is thicken or make these area a bit bigger. Like, oh, not that big. Oh, hold on, nope. Hold on, no. Let's do that. And what I'll do is, let's copy that part and we'll warp it this way. Oh, okay, there we go. I think I got it. I think if I warp it this way, the perspective will work better for what I'm trying to achieve. Ooh, yeah. Gotta experiment. Gotta try a lot of things sometimes. And yeah, I think this is on the right track now. I'm getting it. I have a feeling I'm getting the knot in a good direction. Uh, yeah, small victories are good too. And I will continue to refine some of the knot texture as I go. I think I could also, hold on, I could also up the contrast a bit here. Lock, lock down the layer. Let's take this shadow right here and I just want to make it slightly darker. There. Okay, it's getting there. Still needs a bit of something to make it really feel like it's wrapped around the waist. Probably need to paint a bit more on the OB. Let's go ahead on the OB part now. I'm just gonna add a bit of shadow. Oh, I need to refine this area. I did try to improve this area, so there's a lot of clipping and very rough edges because I was doing some free transformation in that area, trying to get the blouse a bit better. Alright, so that's that. Paint back the red portion of the OV. Let's go ahead and take a bit of this. Okay, I got some small details. But next, let's see if I can do a bit of a bigger shadow. Let's lock down that layer. And then add the highlight. That way we can strongly emphasize where exactly the highlight and shadow is. And you know, this method is only to block in those shadow and highlight. The rest comes from editing. Sometimes the first time you put down shadow is not always the right one. I can't count the amount of times I've changed shading. I think it might be because the first shading that I put down is usually the ones that I'm most comfortable with, and then but later on I guess I just I get bored of my composition sometimes, and usually the first composition is not the most exciting, so I try to experiment a whole bunch, and therefore it takes more time, and it's probably not the most efficient way of painting a piece. It takes probably a few days experimenting and stuff. I wish I would stop doing that, but I always want to try to do something better, but sometimes I can also ruin a piece that way, so it's not always the best decision, although you do get more practicing that way. It's a hard balance. I can't always paint really good pieces as well, I've noticed. Like, I try my best, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. I wish every piece that I wanna paint would turn out the way I would hope. But yeah, that's just not how it works sometimes. We can try our best, but it doesn't mean that we're always gonna get the best result for our efforts. But yeah, that's why I keep doing it, because I'm just still in pursuit of that one piece that I'll be really happy with. But I'm glad though, because a lot of you guys enjoy it, so hey, that makes me happy. If my art don't make me happy, seeing you guys happy, well, seeing you guys happy with my art is, well, actually what makes it quite worth it as well. Okay, is this enough refining? I don't think a lot changed, but let's go with that. If we remove that, yeah, it's a little messy. I feel like I'm missing a lot of details on her. Yeah, she does not feel complete right now. I really hope that I'll be able to bring my idea for her at the end. As I keep refining a piece, usually I'll be able to visualize better. There's a pro and a con to refining your piece if, in painted form, it doesn't always turn out the way you want it to. Sometimes it will look worse. Ah, but yeah, there's a lot of times I just want to stop painting it because when I first start painting it, the potential, is better than after I refine it. So I get a little discouraged. But then, I spend already a lot of time on that piece, so I will finish it anyways. And hoping that the next piece will be better. Okay. How is this? I think I need to add just a bit more purple. I think maybe I need to give more volume to this side. Give more volume and a bit more volume on the silhouette as well. Hopefully this will help. Add a bit more yellow. Let's move this up a bit and go to the top. Take this color. Let's do a bit of shadow and then I want to see how it will look if I switch up the shading a bit. Actually, maybe this whole part of the OB needs to be red. It's a design choice since... Okay, I think that looks better. Since she's not actually wearing an OB, so I have to incorporate her pants color into the OB in order for the design to somewhat come through or be as close as possible to the original design. Yeah, when it comes to modifying outfits like this, have to try my best to incorporate original elements of the outfit so that the character outfit is as recognizable as possible. Okay, let's go ahead, create a new layer, constraint down. I do this usually when I'm trying to add another element to the art. I'm trying to add a bit of blue up top and just try it out. Maybe I'll use another color. Let's go with this color, a gray, a gray color. I'm just going with the color that works the best with the composition, and right now it's a grayish color. So we got that done. I wonder if I move her torso down a bit or move it this way a bit. Okay. I'm not too sure. The hair is kind of distracting me. Mm, okay, let's add a bit of texture to the top. Um, let's go ahead, do a little vignette on the top, which is just it's like a effect with dark shadow in the corners. I mean, around the object. It's like a filter, a photo filter. I just call it vignette because I wanna to see if I added a bit of, edge wear to the clothing, will it look better? So I'm gonna give it a try. Bring this down. Oh, I actually like it. Yeah, I like this vignette effect. Good thing I tried it out. So if I use a vignette, it actually helps contour the fabric and gives it a bit of volume, which I quite like when I paint clothing. I like to give the clothing a bit of volume by lining it with shadows or highlight like this. It just makes it look a little more realistic. Uh, but I think it also really depends as well on the composition. Sometimes you can get away with not doing this and the piece would still look good. But I'm pretty picky, so usually, I am very, I just can't stand it if the the piece is too simple, sadly. I wish I was a bit more smarter with elements of the canvas and stuff like that. But for some reason, my art just, I guess, I can't, how do you say, I guess I can't achieve simplicity and be happy with it. I wish I could achieve something similar to that, but I guess right now my brain just can't come up with a way to make that work. So I always end up trying to put as much detail as I can in a piece. Hopefully it's not too busy. Let's add a bit of highlight at the very bottom here. Trying to highlight her side boob here. Okay, let's move on to this area. So I'll just refine it a bit more. I want to try to see if I can highlight her rib cage a bit. Just a tiny bit. Do a little before and after. Let's add the red fabric. And then the white fabric. Let's do the little vignette effect at around the corner. Take a bit of this color. Add it there. Okay, let's do a little before and after. Alrighty. That should do it. Okay, so I'm gonna actually bring back a bit of this highlight. I think it actually looks quite good, so I'm gonna bring that back. I like to paint or render stuff out on different layer, you know, because sometimes I want to go back to how it was before. If the before version is better. Sometimes it is, so I can go back easily. Okay. Before, after. I think this part could be brighter. Brighter and a tad more yellow. Lower the opacity a bit. I'm gonna just softly erase. Put back the hair. Slowly but surely, it's getting rendered out bit by bit. But yeah, this process can be a little slow. Especially, you know, if you're picky like me. When I'm picky, I just keep going back and forth between variations. Sometimes I just can't decide, you know? Okay. I wanted to try to see how it would look if I brought the back a little bit. Oh. Hmm. I think I like it better if it was... I'm not sure. Actually, should I go back to the previous version? Okay, I think I'll work on it a bit, but at least, you know, this part's rendered out a bit more. You know, even if I do have to do a bit of editing, like playing around with the anatomy and whatnot, since the top is already rendered out, it'll be a bit easier to finalize things afterwards. Alright guys, let's move on to the bottom now. Oh, okay, there we go. Alright, so I've already kind of gotten started here. So the goal for the bottom portion is I want to make sure that her hips are emphasized and it's protruded towards us. So that is the goal for that. Um, so this is what I had originally, but my main concern was, is her leg a bit too thick? Alright, sorry about that. Did a bit of did a bit more work off camera, and again I'm just trying to do a few kind of testing out a few things. So yes, still trying to make sure the hips look like they're jetting out. Uh, okay, let me grab this whole part of the leg. I just hope this doesn't look too much. But other than that, I think it does kind of work. I'm just looking at her pants. Her pants, it's got a lot of details. And I think that in order to convey the perspective that I want to do, I have to get her pants right, especially the flaps and the pleats for the pants, so that um, the angle is properly done. Let's take this. I'm also aiming for her pants to looks almost like a mermaid tail. Since I think composition wise it would be the best choice, so that it covers a bit of the ground. It brings the audience eyes from the top to the bottom. So I'm just going to try to get that across, as well as making sure the folds of the leg, the pants is properly done. And I noticed that most of the pleats are actually towards the center of the pants itself. So around this area. Let's go with that. I have a feeling I could probably bring her up a bit. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take this part of the pants and I'll just extend it all the way down here. I want to see if I can create a bit more perspective that way. Another another question is how much can I reduce the hips for it to still have the same result? Let me duplicate these. So I need to have these are backup. Oh wait, hold on. No. Okay. This set is the backup and this is the one that I'm gonna experiment on. So let's go ahead and start doing a little testing. So I'm just gonna reduce the size of this right here. I see. I mean, it's not too bad, but it does mess with the composition a bit. Because now the pants itself is a little bit too thin. So I'm going to try to blend this out a bit. And let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and select that part. Let's go liquefy real quick. Okay. Liquefy this part. And let's see how it would look if I just grab that part, made it a little bigger. Oh, hold on. Nope, that wouldn't work. I have to select this whole part right here. Select that whole part right there and then do it. I think I can probably work with this. Probably need to make the pants here a bit more dynamic. Maybe incorporate some separations for the pleats. I also most likely will need to adjust the colors for that. Let's go ahead and grab this right here. The other portion underneath is a bit way too warped. That's why I just grabbed the older version that was still not too bad. It was a bit more clear too. Let's see if we can get something going here. Oh god, it's so messy. It's quite messy. Uh, but as long as, you know, the concept come across, I can always refine it. But yeah, we definitely need to get the vibe. Hmm. go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna take this part, bring it up, or actually maybe here. Okay, I need to let's go ahead and merge down here and take multiply, and I'm going to take multiply and let's go ahead and make it just a bit darker. If I make it a bit darker, I'll have more chances of adding highlight or more opportunity to play with contrast. Okay, now create a new layer. And now I'm going to take this color right here. This is gonna be my the mode. Make sure that it's the right mode. Gonna go ahead and start adding a bit of highlights. I'm going to use airbrush to help me do a bit of rendering of where I want to have the highlight source to be on the pants in general without specifically rendering out with the details just yet. Just wanna get the idea across. Maybe a bit of highlight here and then more highlight on this side. With plenty of actually maybe just that side. But in general, I do want to sculpt out the kind of how the leg is being bent. So I want the leg to tuck in here and then have highlight all the way down. I also wanted to highlight, how or have a bit more form fitting around the leg, but I don't know if I can make it come across properly, so I'm just kind of experimenting to see would this work. Man, this is like what the biggest like pants gap ever. Traditional. This is like a I don't know what the word for it is, the style of Japanese pants, but this is a big leg gap. Pretty big. Let's rotate real quick. Only in pinups would this happen. I'm gonna go ahead and start erasing some of that. Um, mm, there's still something that is it's not quite right yet. Okay, let's merge down. So this is before, is after. Before, I mean after, before, after. Oh, hmm. You know what? Let me see. What if the leg is, the position is a bit straighter? Oh, whoops. What if it was a little straighter like this? Hmm, it's not a bad composition. If I do that, I have to rotate her though, because if I don't, it's not going to be balanced enough. Okay, so if I do that, I mean, this is actually interesting composition and simple enough, but now the issue with doing this is that now this part of the composition, the background, feels a little empty. So whatever, whatever edits that you would do, there's gonna be most likely other bits that now you have to figure out a way to compromise on or to fix. I mean, perhaps I can use the hair. Maybe I can make it a little bit more dynamic. Maybe stretch the hair out to cover uh, more space here. I really don't know, guys. Before? After? Man, there's elements I like from before and after. Hmm. Let's... This was before. Okay. Typically I don't record this part because I'm just kind of going back and forth and trying to think. Hmm. What if I take this, just cut that part in general, and I do this, or I bring the hip like this. If I do this, I'm gonna fix this part right here. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Alright, I have an idea. Let's test out something. So we'll do the same thing again. Just cut this. Actually, you know what? Let's cut that part. And as for this part, we shall bring it a little closer. Right here. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, like that. Oh no. Toss it over a bit. Toss it over one time. Let me flip this real quick. Let's see. Let's see how it's looking. Uh, okay, now instead of having the leg tucked in, let's tuck it out. Oh, sounds weird. Let's do this. And once we do this, I can try to expand the highlight over here. And once that's out, I can try to move it. Move it this way. So now this leg, I can try to make it feel like make it feel like it's a little bit more in perspective, hopefully, but then I would have to also bring this up, this part up. Like that. And so is the other leg. I have to go ahead and cover the other leg up in pants. With pants, I mean, not in pants. Or in pants. I don't know. Maybe we can say it that way as well. And then perhaps I can move this up a bit more. Move the hip bone up a bit more. Okay, is this, I think, this looks a little bit more like the legs in perspective now. There's still much to be done, but it's getting there. It's getting there, and yeah, there's a lot of struggles like this. Because usually, you know, I try something out. I render out a few things, and then I find out, this part, you know what, I can't quite put my finger on it, but it feels a little off. So I try a bunch of stuff. Sometimes I'm lucky and it turns out better. Sometimes it's just spending a couple hours on it and with nothing to show for it. Yeah. But I think this time, I think I'm getting somewhere, so that's good. I definitely feel like this is going somewhere. So I'll just continue to edit this part. So get the hip here. So I think I'm gonna focus on the hip area. Oh, we're getting a bit of perspective here. So the hip, this hip bone right here, and then on the opposite side, I'm gonna make sure the hip bone is a lot lower, and hopefully therefore emphasizing the what's it called, the perspective. Uh, so if that leg is up, let's have the pants be pulled up a bit. I guess I end up not really using this part. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna be using, oh, hold on. I will be using the clothing part. Okay, so I did a few variations, so this is the original one, which is not too bad. Second variation and third. You know what? God dang it. I kinda like this one. Alright, the struggle continues. Well, perhaps this is the best variation. I was really hoping that I was getting somewhere with the third variation. Sometimes that's just not the case, and the best version is probably like in between a few attempts. Yep. Hmm. Let me look at my sketch. I want to see what I had originally wanted to do. I definitely wanted to do to make sure the hip silhouette stands out. Okay, this is what oh, I kind of like the sketch. What happened? Yeah, stuff happened. It's definitely quite a bit more different, but perhaps I can still go back to this. Let's give it a shot. I'm gonna try to restore to the original idea. So first, plumb out the booty. Good thing it's not a huge change. Just need to bring this up a bit, and also just need to bend this. Bend. Uh, I wonder how it would look if I... Oh, Okay, that's not too bad. If I had one leg up and one leg down, like this, that's not too bad. What if I made this leg really straight? Yeah, probably not. The flow isn't as good. The flow here, if I made both legs kind of bend a bit more, the flow is better. Yeah. Alright, so... Mm, hmm. Either way, I think I'm gonna be spending quite a bit of time on this part, trying to figure it out and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna get this done. And, oh, okay. This is before. That's the sketch. Oh, actually pretty straight. That leg, I made the leg quite straight in the sketch. Okay, I'm gonna try it out. Sometimes I'll look at the sketch and try to go back to the the original idea if I stray too much. But yeah, I will see you guys in a bit after I work on this a bit more. Hey guys, welcome back. So as you can see, I spent a couple hours on this, refined the hair a little bit, worked on the character overall, but the major thing is I decided to switch up the pose a little bit. So before, it was a little bit more like this, but, you know, something just didn't feel right about this pose. I suppose I wanted her to look a bit more determined, and so I changed the pose to this. Um, I did this is the old arm. Oh, hold on, yes, that's the old arm. I played around with it, but it didn't really fit, so I decided to go for another pose instead. So the old arm would look like this, and yeah, I felt as if, that old arm didn't really fit. Along with that, I end up changing to the leg positioning here in particular. So instead of her a little bent, having a bent knee, I wanted to test out how it would look if, her legs were straight. And I think I like that better right now. So hopefully once we clean this up, it's gonna look better than what we had before. And I also played around with the chest part as well. Uh, but yeah, I just wanted to show you guys the progress here and the change as well, because I think I did about three change passes, trying out different poses for her, and I landed on this one. It looks a little messy. Yeah. Usually I just try to change it up as much as I can in a short amount of time, and if I get the feeling that it's going, in the right direction, I will kind of refine it. So I'm gonna remove the hair for now, and so I'm gonna take you guys through this process of just um, cleaning up basically after I went ahead and just changed up a few things. And good thing that I have her limbs in separate layers because it makes this process a lot easier. it's easier to change stuff up. So I'm gonna, oh, this part I'm gonna delete, and I'm gonna go to the top layer, this layer right here, so that I can go ahead and make the proper corrections on this side here. So I think what I'm gonna do is release the voiceover for this term, but I won't be releasing the final piece for her because I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish on time, and I would like to take my time rendering her out and, you know, experimenting on composition, etc. Because I think this piece can turn out really great, but I can't release it as it is because it's nowhere near to the extent that I want to release it. So I will take a bit of extra time to finish her. So the voiceover will be uh, up for you guys. However, the final piece will be released later on, but I will still include it in this term after I complete it. Alright, so back to this arm. She doesn't necessarily have any accessories except her arm brace here. I'm gonna, oh, okay. Her arm looks a little airbrushy, so I'm gonna attempt to add a bit of volume here. Let's go ahead and take colors from her face and the rest of her body to uh, help us here. Should I make it a little more further away? Shape out her elbow here. Add a bit of tendon. Oh my gosh, how do you say it? The armpit muscle or armpit definition. Um, the head positioning, probably need a bit of change. Maybe I'll put it here. This is the face before, after. Yeah, I did do a bit on her face. So I was aiming for something similar to the anime style, but it didn't really fit as well, so going with this instead. I'm gonna actually have the face on a separate layer on the neck, because I noticed I was playing around with the neck quite a bit. Let's go ahead and shape it. Add a little neck tendon here. Yeah, that looks a little better. Go back to the top layer. This is the bust layer. And I'm thinking maybe toss this over a bit. But I kind of want to fix the chest part here. Maybe the silhouette needs to be changed up a bit. Let me test that out. Bring it down a bit. Let's zoom in here. The shading here is a bit too airbrushed for my liking. It feels, it needs to be worked on a little more. And that's only because I've been using a lot of airbrush, so, you know, need to balance it out with a lot of, what's it called, lasso tool it up a bit more, and also, you know, it's not just enough to make sure the shading is smooth and clean. The way you shade it will influence how plastic it looks sometimes as well. That's how I figured. Like right now, our skin's not looking the best, even though it's smooth. It's lacking tone, like different tones. Maybe it needs a bit of blue, gray, etc. Probably maybe a little more yellow. So stuff like that tends to break the plasticky look. Different tones. And then maybe we'll play around with different levels of soft blending as well. Have a bit of more sharp edged parts, like for the rib cage. Will make it not as airbrushed looking. So it became something like this. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the silhouettes. I'm gonna take this entire thing, bring it over. And I kind of wanted to make her more busty, but I don't know if we can do that. Let's try it out. So I'll simply warp her chest layer and make it a little bigger. I think we can get away with her being a little more busty. Okay. Maybe we can do that amount. Adjust the knot. I also rendered out this part a bit more, although it's more or less the same. And then we'll go to this. Oh wait, hold on. Before that, we shall do her. Oh, that's her arm. This is the bottom. So this is the hip layer. I had it separated from the pants layer. So the pants layer definitely needs to be readjusted quite a bit. So I'm just going to warp this in a position that fits for now. And oh, okay. Let me bring this up and try to reconnect it. Okay, that looks fine. And then so this is with the new direction. So now the issue would be this part of the pants. Maybe I should have the pants on a separate layer. But this part are, mm, I think I need to reposition some of these elements. Okay, like this. I'll have it by itself. Shirt cover. Oh, this should be on the bottom. And in fact, the pants and the bottom should be underneath this layer. And the top layer and the shirt cover should be here. Maybe this layer should be on top of the knot layer. Okay, there we go. Alright, so I repositioned the layers. That's a little strange. This part is out of place. Alright, so now I will, let's see if I can warp this a little bit. Or even just take this part specifically. Cut. Okay, so let's go ahead and move this. I'm going to try to make sure that, the pants lays relatively flat against her stomach, and that it still has a relatively good flow. Okay, let's go ahead and pop this back on. Popping that back on, it just acts as a guide. So this is originally the amount of straight position I wanted for the pants, and I'll just kind of erase some of these areas. Okay, that works. Well, makes the pants have like quite a bit of layers, but okay, so all that is left is to play around with this part of the pants, which I will simply tuck it in here. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to move her bottom area to kind of warp it to match this part a bit more. There was quite a bit of empty spacing there. So yeah, maybe something like this. And let's go back to the arm and readjust that again. I would like to make the arm a little bit darker. I can also try to warp it a little to make it match what I wanted to match. Okay. Alright, so this is the lighting adjustment that I have. I wanted to experiment with, so I wasn't quite happy with the lighting that I've got because it didn't feel dynamic enough or match the environment. So I was basically testing out lighting, and so I wanted, to try a bit of stronger lighting around her hair, her head, and then towards the body would be a little darker so that the main focus would be around her head. So I plan to implement that after after I get a bit of work done with just fixing some of these areas that I played around with. But yeah, there's a lot of going back and forth a lot of times. You know, the first pass usually, for me anyways, never really sticks because I tend to have to, do a few experimental runs. So yeah, and that usually take quite a bit of time. I wish I could just sometimes hit it out of the ballpark, but that is not the case. This is I would like there to be a strong light source. I wonder if I could where I should position it, probably up here. Let's go ahead and do color dodge and uh, add a bit of glowiness and pop back on the lighting fix. It's really messy, but I just wanted to get the general point across. Yeah, because since I moved the character's head around quite a bit, the lighting is no longer in place. But yeah, the main principle, I would like our head to be a bit more brightened up with the lighting and the body to be just a little darkened up. But it's not looking too great right now. And this probably gonna take maybe 2 days, maybe 20 hours, I would estimate. It's taking me longer and longer to work on pieces. That's why, you guys probably notice it's, I don't, sometimes I can't draw, I mean, I can't release as much pieces because, sometimes I go back and forth and that, consumes quite a bit of time. If I can't just get get it right out of the gate, it just happens. So it takes perhaps double or triple the time to work on. But maybe I should just sometimes, I should just ship it as it is, so to say. Just don't obsess over it. Just if you're not happy with it, I should just move on to the next piece. Sometimes, that's also the best option. Take it as a learning experience and move on to the next piece. I should probably do that. I think also a problem in drawing sometimes is just the lack of uh, inspiration sometimes. I try to uh, decrease that by just having already off the gate, I have reference inspiration and an idea. But sadly, even if you are well prepared, it might not always uh, end well, or the process won't always be straightforward, or so to say. And what's funny sometimes, sometimes I'm just like casually painting a character and it ends up really, I quite like the idea, so there's that as well. Sometimes painting is really unpredictable. Inspiration comes uh, when you least expect it sometimes. Kind of wish I was inspired 24/7. That way I think it'll be easier for me. Because I really enjoy the process of being inspired and just, having to, I gotta finish, I gotta put out my idea, that type of mindset. That's a really nice feeling for me anyways. And You know when you're in the zone when you don't feel like eating. I love food, so when I don't feel like eating and just painting, that's a good sign. It kind of reminds me when I was in college. In fact, if any of you are in college, I'm sure you know the feeling like, oh, I have a really good idea. I want to put it out, and we're eating cup noodles and budget food, all that. But I really just want to get that done because I think it's gonna be a great idea. But I think, I feel like it's also my age. I think I mentioned it a few times already, but I'm really feeling it. Feeling the age. But that could also have to do with my work lifestyle. It's uh I suppose it's catching up to me a little bit. But I'm just always in pursuit of that perfect inspiration. I just want to keep feeling it, feeling uh, like really wanting to paint something, really wanting to get the idea out. Yeah. So right now I'm in the phase of I'm not feeling it just yet, but there's potential, so I want to keep working at it until I get the feeling like, ooh, this piece is gonna be good. But it's still not there yet, sadly. It has potential, but yeah, it's not there yet. Other than this piece, I have a few more ideas. Like I wanted to do like a grown-up version of Anya from Spy Family. Like I think she's I can do a good fun spin on her, and also the new Genshin Impact character. She's got really cool design. Kind of looking forward to that. But I think recently the the piece that really inspired me to paint and I really had fun with was the Elder Ring. Um, uh, wait, I just painted her. How could I forget her name? But yes, Elder Ring characters, very fantasy, a very unique looking characters, and it's kind of a challenge to pin up making pinups of them because they look very not very typical of pinups. So that inspired me. Like I took that as a challenge. Oh, what can I do with it? Because they do have cool designs. So also fantasy characters are really fun to work on. I actually started off painting fantasy, really fantasy type characters, very fantasy driven art. And then, I went to work for a game company that was doing sci-fi stuff. So that taught me, design some design stuff, some rules about it, and that was quite helpful. So I did also enjoy painting the core Tana piece. She is very sci-fi, and I appreciate that because I have previous experience working on sci-fi games, so I quite appreciate her design because I'm like, oh, I see what they did there, like what the seniors taught me at the uh, that company there. It's pretty cool to use or find similarities in what you've learned before. It's kind of fun. But yeah, so okay, so that's done. And got the arm here. I moved the arm as well. I was experimenting with the positioning for her weapon. Um, just wanted to see, like if we can get a better, more, what's it called, a balanced pose like this if I put her weapons in this position because before it was here. Oh, but here also, eh, that's actually not a bad position either. I really don't know. So I will just place it here for now. Okay, so now gonna see. Should I move it around a little bit? I was also, testing it out this way. So this is the crop tool, and I was like testing it out. Okay, would it look better if I frame it like this? Because I do this quite a lot as well, like trying to reframe a piece because I don't quite like it. Something is off to me, like just exploring options basically. Um, I don't know. Uh, Maybe I'll just stick with what I have before. Yeah, actually, horizontal piece wouldn't be so bad, but the problem with that is it's gonna have a lot of empty space around. Mm, yeah. Yeah, I'm just contemplating about this quite a bit. Maybe once I implement the lighting change, it will be a lot better. Uh, so I do a lot of these moving parts, rotating, cropping canvas sometimes to see what looks better. So I also maybe we can do like a little before and after. Sometimes that helps too to see if you like what you had before or not. It's a lot of that going on. So yeah, this is why this piece is not gonna get done today. Uh, but hopefully I'll be able to surprise you guys with the result. I I really want to be proud of this, so I'm gonna keep working on it. And yeah, I don't know if you guys experience this, but sometimes you think it's gonna look really good while you work on it, but then after, working on it, but it's like, ooh, it's not as good as I thought it would be. Like, I kind of like what I had before, and yeah, it's kind of like that. I'd say I would have a pretty good drawing day if I don't experience this, because that would mean I would save quite a bit of time. But since, this is usually how it goes, I haven't been able to paint very fast. Sometimes I wish I could just get my butt in gear. Hmm. I think, I think this should, hmm, let's, if I put her weapon right here, it's gonna make her look a little more stable, I think. If I put her weapon like this, That won't be bad either. Perhaps I need to render out the rest of her first. Sometimes you just can't tell until you kind of work on the rest of the characters a little more, so I will do so. Alright guys, I'm going to try right now. I'm I'm kind of thinking that the uh, the head maybe it's a little too big for the foreshortening that I want to do, but I'm not sure. You know, I could just be looking at it way too long, and I don't know. But let's test it out. See here. What do you guys think? You know, one of my issues, you know, in the past was I made the head way too small, and sometimes I can't see that. It's either way too small or way too big, and also, uh, and also the six finger thing or six toe or four toes, missing limbs or extra limbs, you know, that kind of issue. When you work on a piece for so long, that sometimes that happens. Like you just can't catch everything. I try to count the limbs uh as much as I can, but you know, can't always. Sometimes when you're just really into a piece and you're like trying to make it work, make it happen. You know, the small things, sometimes I miss it. And I would like to let's bring back the old arm. I want to see like how would it look now that I fixed a few things. Let's see. Well, this arm is feel like this would work better if it was doing something, but it's just chilling here. Uh, what can I do? I could probably do something else with this hand. Let's pop back on the arm that we have, the new arm. Uh, yeah, maybe the new arm is better. Um, Let me go ahead and fix the flow of this leg right here, and also fix the flow of this leg right here. Merge that. Let's zoom out real quick. So the head is smaller. Okay. Alrighty, so now we're going to do the lighting adjustment. So I don't know, I think I've shown this process before, but it's a really tedious way of doing things. So we have all the filters here, and basically we're gonna merge, copy this onto each of these layers and adjust and refine with those for every single layer. So that does take time. That probably is what makes my process really slow. But yeah, and I would do this a few times, so that takes uh, a lot of hours, and so I don't record that process, but yes, that's usually what I end up doing. So we're going to apply the new lighting here. As you can see, it's quite rough and oh, okay, here we go. There we go. So that's only on this hair layer. You know what I think what I'll do is I'm gonna copy this and then I'll merge the effect onto the duplicate hair layer. So this is what it's looking like. I'm thinking I should be working on the face first. applying it on the face first. So the hair is interesting because she has turquoise tips, and I really want to play up to that because turquoise, it's a really good contrast color since she is mostly warm toned. So I'm hoping that I get to do something with that. Let's bring up the turquoise highlight in some of these areas here. Okay, I think that looks good. Let me erase a bit of the, so this is before, after. Well, not much changed here. Not too much. Let's go ahead and duplicate the effect once again and onto the next layer, which is the arm layer. So we'll just constrain everything down to the arm layer and we'll do like a little before and after. So all in all, it just makes this layer a little darker. Um, in general, that is the theme for the new lighting that I want to aim for. But on top of that, I would like to make sure that there is a nice gradient down here as well. Let's add, let's see, this color towards the bottom here. I want to make sure that it's clear that, we have a bit of a rim light inside shadow here, down here. Let's add a bit of warm tone. Cleaning up the silhouette while I'm at it. Probably a bit of highlight around this area. And I'm just gonna do a little, let's go ahead and do a little mid-tone highlight around this area. I remember I used to use this filter a lot, or this, that's strange. Here we go. Brighten that. Let's add a bit of this tone right here. Bit of gray. Oh. And then go back in with a warm shadow. Okay. Merge down. Let's do auto contrast. Well, I suppose Photoshop think that's optimal because not much changed when I did auto contrast. Shirt cover is not too important. I don't think this is gonna be too affected by it. Yeah, as expected, nothing much changed. So I'll just merge down and not probably not much either. The thing that's gonna be most affected will probably be the face itself. So yeah, I'm gonna see how much that's gonna be affected. I think I like the before a little better. Let's do like maybe this much. The previous arm, I think the previous arm had better rendering. I have to see what I can do to improve the new arm there. But let me go ahead, move on to the top layer now. Constraint to the top layer and I can do like a little before and after. So what changed was really just the amount of how dark it is now. Which is not really that much. So erase below a bit. Let's go ahead and merge down. Let's auto contrast. Nothing really happened there, so seems okay. The top definitely needs to be worked on. It's not rendered properly. It has a lot of areas that I'm not really liking. It's hard to explain. Sometimes I can just tell that, if it's not rendered well. Sometimes I don't even know why it's not rendered well, but I just don't like it. Um, you know what? Let's take a bit of this color. Maybe I should darken this area a bit more. Oh, hold on. Yeah, this part needs some more work. Let's go to the knot layer and adjust it a little bit. Let's rotate her, flip her a little. I flipped her and I put this layer a little bit lower because before it was sticking to her like this. So I moved it a little lower because I kind of want a bit of negative spacing around this area. And now I'm questioning, should I lengthen her top layer? I feel like it's a little squished. Let's try it out. So there will be a lot of moments where I basically just play around with each part of the body. Because you never know, you know. Your gut feeling might be telling you something, and I usually listen to my gut feeling. Although sometimes it does lead me astray, like sometimes I'll be asking, why did I make that change? Well, it's probably because of this. So I want to see how it look if it's a little bit stretched out a bit more. Let's go ahead and do a little before and after. Okay, there, there we go. One, before, after, before. Ah, nope. I don't think that's the issue. I think it, uh, maybe shirt cover top. Yeah, I think has to do also with how the boobs are. I'm not a fan of how I drew it. I will have to spend a bit of time experimenting on her chest. Oh god, that sounds wrong. But I'm gonna have to play around with the shape a little. Let's do this, maybe. Warp it upwards a bit. And drag it down, warp it up. Maybe I can do something like this. Let's go ahead, press enter, and we'll do like a little, so before, oh okay. I think I liked it that time. And then what I'll do is, let's make it a little bigger throughout. Oh no, actually that might be a bit too big. Big of a difference that is. Let's go ahead onto the bottom now. Let's make her bottom a little bit bigger. I want to see if that changes anything because this is, you know, a bit of a foreshortening type of piece. I wonder if I can get away with, you know, having her butt be a lot bigger than what it should be because camera angles play a pretty big role in those type of angles, you know. Even if you don't have a butt, with the right angle, you'll have a butt. That's at least what I found out. Uh, okay. Hmm. I wonder if this will do. I still would like to make sure there is a good amount of negative spacing around her waist so that we can her waist will be more exaggerated. Let me remove this. There's a lot of things going on here, so might not be very easy to notice or to see. I think, let me try. Let me go ahead and do this. If I do this, her hips will be a bit more visible and I think the twist will come across a little better. But now the issue is there's two conflicting lighting, so because there's like bright lighting here, bright lighting down there, so let's see if I can tone this part down. So I'm going to readjust the lighting a bit for the sake of this right here because this part is the part where it's gonna communicate the fact that her hips are out a lot better than the lighting down there that I have. And so I want to see if I can play up this fact right here. Yes, get that hip out. I want her hip to look very, very prominent in this piece. She's gonna have killer hips. Killer hips. Let's go ahead and take this color real quick. And take this color. Put it down here. I'm experimenting a little bit. Readjusting the lighting a bit. So it's a little bit of experimenting everywhere. Should I do this? I'm also adjusting the lighting around this area. And as for this leg right here, I believe I can probably make sure this leg is pretty bright since it is in a position to catch the lighting. Okay, now the next issue is, now this part is not reading as well because it's all very blobby and similar in tones. Yeah, I'm gonna add a bit of gray tone up in here because, yeah, because the tone of the skin is a bit too even down there. We need to add a bit of variety in tones. Let me do this. Ooh, okay. Maybe we can, let me lower this layer a little bit. Well, I think this is the right direction because I'm gonna focus on this type of lighting with the emphasis on the hips, highlight on the hips. I'm still looking back and forth at the small preview and just kind of thinking about it a little bit. Although this is the right direction, I believe there's probably a better way of adding that highlight. Let me see here. Maybe this highlight could be a bit on the cooler side, maybe. Since, you know, most of her body is quite warm in tone, maybe the highlight itself could be like a cooler tone highlight. You know, I'll just try it out anyways, because it might work, it might not work. If it doesn't work, what's the harm in trying and you can go back easily. Okay. Let me remove this part right here. Oh, actually, that's not too bad. I can highlight the hips from both sides. Add a bit of shadow there. Okay, I'm just going to do that. Copy, paste, merge down. I have yet to apply the change here. So, oh, this didn't really do much, did it? Okay, let me just apply it to this instead. That did something. Let me go ahead, copy this, merge down. So this is the edit. But what I'll do is gotta make sure this part is highlighted, and this part too. Maybe not that bright, but uh, this one, yeah, this part will need to be repainted a bit better. I might even need to adjust, this part a bit more. Let me go ahead and merge it down. Merge that down. Copy, paste. Let me go ahead and brighten that part up. Merge down. I definitely think I can cinch her waist a bit more somehow. Tighten the waist up. Shirt cover. Let's do this. Brighten that part up. Merge down. Okay. Alright, now it's time to apply the lighting to her face, which is probably the thing, the hardest part of this, because it's mostly her face that I've applied the new shading to. But yeah, I think it's getting there. It definitely needs a few more pass of this method. So a lighting adjustment, I mean. So I'm gonna do few more lighting adjustment. But in general, I think this part, is this before? We can do a little before. So this is the original. This is the original part. Oh, this is the new adjustment, a new adjustment, new adjustment. This one's cleaner. Although I do still kind of like, some of this lighting. But yeah, it's getting there. I am very hopeful for this. So I'm just gonna keep up with it, and then once I'm done, you guys will see it. You guys will be watching the voiceover before you see the final piece, but hopefully it will be a lot better than this. But yeah, same method, so we shall do this. Duplicate all these, edit, and constrain each of them to each of my face layers. Oh, yeah, this requires a lot of work right here. So what I'll do is copy face layer, merge down, so all the edit is on one layer that I can play with. I'm just gonna leave it there for now. I'm gonna apply the rest of the filters or the edits. Constrain, constrain, constrain. Let's do a little before and after. Copy that layer, merge down. And then onto the horns. Do the same thing every single layer. Okay, this one is messy. So for in this case, I find the messy layer and I just fix that real quick before I merge things down because it'll be easier in the long run if I do this. Well, copy the horn layer, merge down. There we go. I don't believe there's too much of a change here. Mm, oh my goodness. I just wanted to put this filter up real quick. I want to see. I want to see how it will look. I'll just adjust it. Okay, that's something. Alright, so I think I'll implement this theme. Okay, so I think that'll be it for this voiceover. I'm just kind of thinking what I'm gonna do here. But yeah, it's gonna be a few more passes of this. Gonna fix the background a bit. Clean up the watermarks. I'm gonna have to remove those watermarks. Probably play around with the background elements a bit more. I have these elements on separate layers, so we'll move it around here and there to see which position is gonna be the best looking to frame the character with. Depending on where her knots and her accessories are, I have to adjust the background element so that it frames the character. So yeah, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. I'm gonna be using a lot of brain power. Yeah, I might not be good at math, but I'm gonna be using my brain to figure this thing out. Like, we'll have to think how to frame the character properly. And if I need to rotate her again or not, or even position her a little lower. All that. Hopefully hopefully the final result will be good. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next voiceover. It will mostly be a lot of struggles. But usually I don't record this part because it's so much struggling and it's a lot of going back and forth. But this is part of part of painting. A lot of times we're gonna make a lot of changes and mistakes and stuff. And that's okay for the most part. You know, we can always get a positive thing out of it, even though we don't like the piece at the end. We can at least say, you know, we spend a lot of time on it. We gain that experience, so the next time, you know, we won't make the same mistake or try not to. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next voiceover. Have a great day or night. So yeah, see you guys later. Bye bye.